have a movie idea. I'm really excited about this one. Hear me out. Years from now, time traveling is finally invented. But the knowledge of this time traveling must remain top secret. 5 highly classified individuals are selected for a mission. The mission is that they each go back into a selected time where no cameras were invented, and they take a camera and record important moments in history. Now they have 3 important rules that they must follow. Rule 1, don't talk to anybody. Rule 2, don't touch anything. And rule 3, remain unnoticed. All seemed to be going well with the mission until one guy didn't come back. Not only did he not come back, but a strange woman with his belongings shows up in the present day. Someone hire me, please.
Crazy ass story time. 23 years ago, there was this mother of 2 children who just recently had a 3rd child. Soon after, the newborn baby was sleeping in the nursery while they were throwing a house party, and unfortunately during the party, the house caught on fire. Everyone scrambles out of the house and they couldn't get to the baby, and then the cops concluded that the baby had died in the fire. But her other 2 kids made it out alive. And even though the cops told her that her baby had died, she refused to believe it. Many years later, the mother took her 2 children to a birthday party, and there was this other woman there with her child. And now the mother looks at that child and is in shock because she looks so much like her other 2 kids. She goes up to the little girl and says that she has bubble gum in her hair so that she can steal a few strands of her hair. She took it to a lab and they DNA tested it, and that little girl was her child. So it turns out many years ago during that house party, a woman that the mother knew.
I have a movie idea. Hear me out. There's this young guy. He's fresh out of college, so he's like 23, 24. One thing you should know about him is that he is very, very smart. Unlike someone I know. So he has a desk job with the FBI. He's working that 9-to-5 life. But that's not his dream though. His dream is to work for the CIA. He's had a few interviews with them, but they don't seem that interested in him. But here's where things take a turn. One morning before work, he wakes up with a folded note in his hand. The note says, 3 days from now, you will be framed for murder. Someone you know has been killed, but hasn't been found yet. If you show this to anyone or tell anyone, all the evidence against you will be turned in. You have 3 days to prove you're innocent. 3 days to catch me. Good luck. Who is dead? Who broke into his apartment and left this note? Is this some weird test done by the CIA? Or will he be taking the blame for murder? Somebody please give me a job.
Have you ever been scared that some random person could be living in your attic or your basement and you don't know about it? Well, story time. This man in Seattle arrives to his house and he notices some lights are on that would normally be off. He gets inside, goes to the bathroom on the 2nd floor, and notices that the screen that goes in the window above the bathtub had fallen into the bathtub. He didn't really think anything of it until the next morning when he was woken up by noises right above him in the attic. It sounded like someone was rummaging through things. And then later, he looks down his hallway and sees the office door shut with the light on. So he goes up to the door and knocks on it, and a woman replies from the other side, Jimmy, is that you? And he's like, no, who's Jimmy? Why are you in my house? He called 911 immediately, and the woman opened the door and was face to face with him. And she said, this is my house. I've been living here for 3 days. Jimmy said I could stay here. He tried to keep her in the house until the police arrived, but she escaped by throwing an escape ladder outside the window. It took 18 minutes for the police to arrive, and she had dark hair, wore sweatpants, and a track jacket. And he changed his locks. If you like the story, I have an even crazier one on my YouTube right now. Link in bio. For those of you who live in California, you might know this house. This is a picture of Sarah Winchester, and after her infant daughter died and her husband died of tuberculosis, she decided to move out west and start a new life. She bought this 8-bedroom farmhouse in San Jose, California, and then she turned it into this. Why, you ask? Well, her late husband owned this gun company, and she went to a psychic, and the psychic told her that the people that bought these guns from them, the people that they killed, were going to come and haunt her. So she turned this into this with all of the money she had, which nowadays would be about $76 million, to confuse the ghosts that were haunting her. She had carpenters and construction workers working around the clock nonstop to build staircases that led to nowhere. Very confusing architecture. Again, with the stairs, windows on the floors, along with doors that led to nowhere, 6 kitchens, 13 bathrooms, 10,000 windows, and 47 stairways and fireplaces, all to confuse the ghosts that live there. And you can go visit it.
I have a movie idea. Hear me out. So there's this young delivery truck driver, and every day he stops at the same house because there's a young woman who makes him a sandwich and gives him a water. So kind. They like each other, but they don't know it yet. Well, one day he shows up at her house at the usual time, but something is off. For the first time in months, she's not waiting outside for him. He gets out of his truck and goes to knock on the door, but the door is cracked open. Worried and confused, he's about to call out her name when somebody taps him on the shoulder. It was her. She says, "I'm sorry, I had a super busy day and I'll see you tomorrow," and basically rushes back into her house. Okay. So he gets back in his truck and drives off. A few streets down, he has to slam on the brake. That same woman, covered in bruises and crying, is standing in the middle of the road trying to get him to stop. He runs out and says, "What happened? I just saw you." This is what she said. "That wasn't me. That was my twin sister. She thinks she got rid of me. She wants to take my life." Acting normal, he goes back to the house. An identical woman opens the door. He asks, "Do you have a twin?" And she says, "I do, but she wants my life. She's crazy. You can't trust her." So which one is the woman that he's known for months? Who should he believe? Does he fall in love with the wrong one?